mandatory social distancing.
Stunning increase in daily coronavirus cases.
Now to the coronavirus in several states, now seeing a spike in cases.
Alarming new numbers about the coronavirus in the U.S.
In response to the COVID-19 pandemic during the spring months of 2020, states across the country instituted social distancing orders varying in intensity. In Washington, Governor Jay Inslee instituted a mandatory lockdown order requiring everyone to stay at home unless it was absolutely necessary.
So tonight, I am issuing a stay-home order to fight this virus.
Bars, restaurants, and other businesses were forced to shut down. People were told to stay home, not see their friends or family, and only leave to run necessary errands. During this time of social isolation, many people turned to video games as a form of entertainment and as a means to connect with the friends they couldn't see in person. Video game usage skyrocketed in the early months of the COVID-19 lockdown.
I've always gamed to socialize with my friends.
And so nurturing a social environment post-COVID is, I don't want to call it impossible, because anything is possible.
So even like before COVID, I was socializing on games.
Fifth year senior. And I'm a double major in marketing and Spanish. And I'm from Renton, Washington. I've always gamed to socialize with my friends. And none of them really live near me. So I continue to do that. So the amount that I've played really hasn't changed. It's been pretty consistent. I can tell you that for the most part, I think for like generally, because I've always been like I said, an avid gamer, so my case might be a little different. But for the most part, I think people are picking up gaming a lot more, because what do? I mean, you're sitting at home, you're bored, you can't really go out and see friends, so pick up gaming, find a game that's super fun for you, play it with your friends and socialize. I think that's been a lot more common now. I got a group about 6, 7 friends, some from Hawaii, some from Oregon, that's a wide range across the U.S. So yeah, it's a big factor for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't really be able to connect and stay connected to them. So super important, especially for like my mental health, other people's mental health who rely on these things to socialize. It's just been a blessing, really. I mean, imagine 30 years ago, nothing, right?
My name's Dane Buckley. I'm the president, currently of the Western Washington University Smash Club, which is essentially just a weekly tournament that's run on campus. Usually averages like 20 to 60 people, depending on what's going on when COVID wasn't happening. The input lag from the game's really old. It goes through RGB connectors, not HDMI. So if you plug it into a newer TV, you're not going to have the same game experience. And so when COVID happened, everybody has to use their laptop monitors, or they have to go out and buy a special $200 monitor, and it's not even the same. And that has been actually a massive deterrent from what I've noticed in a lot of people. And that also just brings up just like questions within the player themselves. Like, why do I really want to participate in this when I know that it's not legitimate? Maybe they don't consider it legitimate or something, and that can hurt entry. Just because COVID is going on and brackets are completely different, it's not like a typical bracket experience that you'd be getting. There's still a lot of fun. There still is a lot of community. There are still lots of people talking in the Discord. There's lots of people looking for friendlies. It's more centered around improvement and actually just like playing the game now, which is a change, and it attracts less people than before, but it is a different environment and it does work still. So just because the tournament part of the tournament isn't there anymore, that's how I would see it at least, doesn't mean that you shouldn't still enter. Do you know what I mean? That doesn't mean it's over or it's going to stop growing, because it's doing nothing but growing because of the accessibility. The accessibility has increased like tenfold. Everyone has to have a setup. So brackets run like a 40-man bracket is done in 2 hours, when a 40-man bracket at a Western place would have taken 6 hours, and we would have gone over the limit, and we would have had to finish it at my house. You know what I mean? It would have been a mess. So that part is good. You know, there's pros and cons to both of it. Obviously, I'd rather have it pre-COVID, but it doesn't mean that there isn't a lot to gain and a lot of fun to be had.
When COVID first started and I was still in school, I had a more time, and I really didn't care. Like, even though I was still taking classes and everything, I had class like four times a week, and I would go to that, and then I would play video games the rest of the time, and it made it so like I obviously I never felt really bad playing a lot of games, but then COVID happened. I'm like, I feel extra not bad now. So it's definitely, I don't know, good and bad, because stayed inside more, but good for the most part. This was in our regimen. Like, if you really think about it, like, everyone is complaining that they're like forced to be like cooped up inside, but then we're all just like, we're not complaining about this. This is what we do. This is what we're used to doing. Like, my friends and I haven't had like any like, oh, I have to sit inside. Like, obviously some of them want to get outside more, but like, I freaking socialized on games regardless already. So even like before COVID, I was socializing on games, but I definitely like socialize more now. Like every night, like I play with at least one person, and I play with the same people most of the time. So like, even though like all my roommates, we all moved away from Bellingham or like moved away from each other, we still talk to each other like most nights, just because we're all playing games together. The whole pandemic thing and gaming relating to the pandemic for me is kind of like it's almost doesn't mean as much to me as other people, because like I already used gaming as like a place for well-being, to like do something that I enjoy, whereas like during the pandemic it's just like the same thing where I'm just doing it because I enjoy it. And now I'm kind of like asked to do it because you're not supposed to leave it.